Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Check out this GX550 in this green, and look at the older GX460 in green. It's really cool. But we're going to check out this articulation on the GX550. Just look for a moment at this ridiculous articulation. These are some serious ruts and ups and downs and holes that this GX550 prototype is going in, and it's handling it no problem. Look at this articulation. This is the king of articulation in its class, the Lexus GX. Look at this. It's tipping and rolling. Just look at these undulations for a second to appreciate how ridiculous and how leaned up and crazy this thing is, wobbling all over the place. Look at it leaning down into this hole here, while it's dropping down into another hole over here, and it just handles it just superbly. Absolute best in class performance as far as articulation goes. If we look at that again, you can actually, if you appreciate how deep these holes are for a second, we can see that the vehicle itself, the tires don't actually leave the surface once. So what I'm saying is, this is all articulation. A-track is not used here at all. The Lexus GX550 has EKDSS, so a front and rear sway bar disconnect. And if you watch all four tires here, they're not going to leave the road no matter how tilty it gets. Like, it just got like crazy tilty there in this right there. You know, it's all over the place. But the tires do not lose contact with the road, not once. Look at that rear driver's tire here, falling down in the hole. Look at this. You know, it's absolutely insane how much articulation that Toyota engineers squeezed out of this. So that's the rear, of course. But the front articulation of the GX550 has been improved, and this clip you're seeing here showcases that very fact. Again, neither the front wheels or the rear wheels leave the ground or lose contact with the ground in this particular example. And again, if these, you may be tempted to think, oh, this is just a Mickey Mouse course. Now, these are some deep holes. You can tell by the gaps in articulation and just how deep that stuff is. All right. In a minute here, we're going to take a look at the the LX600 and the GX550 without EKDSS. In other words, just the regular GX550, not the overtrail, which is what you're seeing here with all this articulation. So this overtrail with its EKDSS didn't even have to use A-track here once. These tires are yeah, I can't get over this. Doesn't lose contact with the road, so you don't see A-track engaging once. But we're going to talk about A-track here right now as we see this Lexus LX600. Now, this is the same platform, same vehicle, all based on the Land Cruiser 300. However, this LX600, see A-track going there? It does not have EKDSS. So as you saw there on the front, it's not going to articulate as much, and the wheel gets off the ground right there, and A-track has to do its thing. Now, here's the thing about A-track. Even though it doesn't articulate and fall down in the gap, the car keeps moving. A-track is superior to lockers. I'll said it, and I'll keep saying it, and I'll always say it. And Toyota will say it because they're telling everybody who test drives these GX550s and LX600s to not engage the locker, the rear or front locker. Particularly, I know this LX600 doesn't have lockers, but the GX550, they're telling all testers, don't engage the locker. Let A-track do its thing. A common myth is A-track loses momentum when it engages. It doesn't. Just watch this front tire and watch the whole vehicle. As soon as it gets in the air, there's no momentum loss. The vehicle keeps moving forward. Don't let the spinning, braking action of the wheel fool you. Instead, look at the white body of the car. The driver's demanding to go forward. There's no pause. The vehicle just goes forward. If there's any pause, it's because the driver took his foot off the... Oh, there you can see A-track doing its thing in the rear again. If you perceive any pause in vehicle momentum, it's because the driver took his foot off the gas pedal. But as you can see here, the LX600 in the rear, it's going to get in the air. A-track's going to do its thing, and it's going to keep moving forward. That's exactly what a locker does. But it gets better, because someone's going to say, that's not as good as a locker. Lockers are better, blah, 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 blah. No, because as Toyota has pointed out over and over, once you get a rear, any one of these axles off the ground, let's just use the rear, for example, since we got it queued up here. So once this rear drivers gets in the air, once this is in the air, it doesn't have any traction, right? So the power in the axle, remember you got 50% on the front axle, 50% on the rear axle. A-Track can send 50% to this tire here, the passenger rear. So in that sense, A-Track is superior to a locker. I'll say it again. If this was locked, this rear axle, if this was a locker, you'd have 25% of your power going to this wheel in the air doing nothing, and then you'd have 25% going here to the wheel that has traction, only 25. Since this vehicle has A-Track, 50% of the power, in other words, the total power available to this rear axle, can be sent to one individual wheel. A locker cannot do that, and that's why Toyota insists that you don't put on the locker and you just drive the car, and you're seeing it here. That's why this vehicle looks so effortless. When people watch these videos, they go, that wasn't a hard course, that wasn't too difficult, blah, 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 blah. And it's not so. The GX family just makes it look easy. Here we go again. Now this is a GX550, not the Overtrail edition. Okay, not the Overtrail edition. So it's not going to have the articulation that we saw in the beginning. But watch here. You're going to see A-Track do its thing on the front right there. Let's watch again. The front driver gets in the air, and you can see it doing its thing. But the vehicle momentum is not lost. There's no pause. It just keeps moving. There, it does it on the rear. Now remember, this is a GX550 normal trim, so not Overtrail trim, so it's not going to have the EKD SS to disconnect the rear sway bar. So look at this rear, passenger rear when it gets in the air. It's going to get in the air here. Now it's in the air. You still have massive articulation here, but it does not have the EKD SS to disconnect the rear sway bar. So I don't know how many inches it's going to lose, but it's going to lose some inches, you know, but still you have massive articulation in the rear. But let's say it doesn't reach the wheel doesn't reach the ground and you lose traction like you are here. A-Track is going to engage. It's going to send 50% to the other tire in the rear, not 25 like a locker, but 50 to really help power this thing through. So you got these two wheels on the ground here, so you got 25 here, 25 here, and you got 50 back here. That's how the Lexus GX family can make all of this look so effortless and seamless. So when you're looking at this, and when you look at the videos on any GX, even the older GX470s and the GX460s that are on my channel, and you see these GXs just sailing through things, and it makes it look like they're not on a tough course, but it's just the car making it look easy. And that's the whole point of the Lexus GX experience, and you're seeing it here on this regular trim GX550. So a lot of people ask, you know, is the regular GX550 going to be good? Yes, it is, because you're looking at it right here. This is GX550 without EKD SS, not the Overtrail edition, and you can still see that Lexus proudly puts it on its course. There's no locker on this regular trim GX550, no rear locker, unlike the Overtrail edition, but it sails through the course just fine, absolutely effortless. But if you want the max in articulation, you're going to have to do this, and this is just simply amazing. This thing is absolutely being tossed into holes, and it doesn't lose contact once. This has got to be the biggest seller here, this clip of the Overtrail. And even if these wheels, and by the way, notice that this is an Overtrail trim, but he's on street tires. In case you didn't know, all Lexus GXs, all of Toyota's off-road vehicles, 4Runner, Land Cruiser, GXs, LXs, they're all tested with normal street tires. They don't cheat and use all-terrain tires. All of the trials have to be passed on street tires, which is why Lexus just has some regular street tires slapped on this particular Overtrail trim. So, in a nutshell, your Lexus GX, no matter what trim you get, is going to be top class, top in its class off-road. The GX550 Overtrail Edition is going to get you the maximum articulation, and it's going to be the class leader. In the front, Toyota claims something like 110 millimeters increased front articulation, which puts it into Jeep Wrangler territory on the front, which is unheard of for a car with independent front suspension. On the rear, Lexus and Toyota products have always had Jeep-like rear articulation, if not more. All right, if you found this channel helpful, please remember, this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great day.